What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch-Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, over the last few days, this crypto market absolutely went berserk, leaving a lot of people wondering what in the world is going on. And I'm sorry I couldn't make a video yesterday. It was my fiance's birthday, so I had to take a day off. Don't be mad at me, but we are back today, and we're going to go over exactly what the F just happened and why it's not that big a deal. So with that said, my friends, let's get straight into the video. Now, we're actually going to start off the video here looking at the charts for Bitcoin because it does show a good story of what we saw over the last few days. Of course, things were looking beautiful. You know, we were seeing this market moving upwards. We were seeing some growth, and the next thing you know, kaboom, straight back to the downside. Things getting absolutely wrecked. We saw Bitcoin put in, over the course of 2 days, a drop of roughly a little bit higher, almost 10%, leaving a lot of altcoins, especially dropping 20, 15 to 25%. I mean, it was kind of ugly, right? It kind of came out of nowhere. It was a little bit absurd. Now, we again could see that across many things, and if we do look at something like just total 2, which gives us an just an idea of what the entire altcoin market did, we can see this entire altcoin market from top to bottom fell about almost 11%. So things got a little bit ugly. Now, a lot of people didn't know what to do. Personally speaking, I did have a little bitty short trade opened up on this because we actually talked about it, which I'm going to refer to in a second. But guys, I will let you know, if you do want to use my Margex link down in the description below, you don't need a KYC, nor do you need a VPN, so anyone in the world can deposit and start trading on Margex. And guys, you are going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses, so go check that out. But what I want to do is I want to explain to you what in the world just happened for the world of crypto. Because we kind of hit the nail on the head, right? We kind of knew this was going to happen. So we're going to talk about exactly what just happened, then going forward, what we're expecting now, what I'm doing now. Let's catch up on crypto. So let's go ahead. Let me play this for you real quick so you can just get a feel for what in the world just happened, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, let's get going with this. Biggest indicator of that is the 7-day. On the weeklies, there are a substantially higher amount of liquidations that will happen if this market moves to the downside than to the upside. And when I see stuff like this, I definitely pay attention to it because you look at it, right? $57,000 brings tons of liquidations. If we hit back to 57K, all of these liquidations will happen. And if we do just quite simply look at Bitcoin's price, that's not all that unrealistic to say, right? Bitcoin doing something like, say, this in a moment like this, the fact that this little bitty move could liquidate that many people, yeah, I definitely feel like it's a possibility. It's something that's out on the table. And so that's what I'm saying. Although in the long term, I think Bitcoin's going to break out of this thing and take off. We're going to see that move eventually up towards 80, 90, 100K. I do think it's going to happen one day. In the short term, things are looking uncertain to me. And as more and more people get greedy, I get a little bit more nervous and I kind of calm down. Okay. So as you can see, that was a video that I had posted. Let me look. I posted this exactly 2 days ago, so on the 26th. And what I was talking about was the fact that, where we were with everything was starting to get a little bit weird, right? Where we were was in a spot in which a ton of liquidations were going to happen if this market moved towards 58K. So although everyone was excited and although everybody was, joyous and getting more greedy, and we saw the crypto fear and greed index shoot up, I was sitting there like, hey, this is starting to look a little bit weird to me. There's a lot of liquidations that will happen if we barely move downwards. Let's be a little bit careful right now. And of course, that's exactly what happened. So if you're wondering why this move to the downside happened and why we got this pullback for Bitcoin, it was quite simply because people started to over leverage as we made this move off of the bottom side here. And one little bitty, pullback, one little correction within this pump triggered a liquidation roll in which people just started getting liquidated. And then of course, you're going to almost fully max out those liquidations before you do return back to the upside. So we just saw kind of like a little bit of a mini long squeeze type of thing that just happened right there. So it's pretty damn interesting. Okay. And so going forward though, now that we know, okay, why this happened, well, what are we looking at now? Well, what we can see is that things have corrected themselves. Okay. Things have corrected themselves. Going back to the liquidation map, remember, liquidations are quite simply the amount of traders that will lose if the market goes in a certain direction. So on this map, the red line indicates the amount of traders that will lose if the market goes down. The green line indicates the amount of traders that will lose if the market goes up. Historically speaking, this market will go in the direction of the most losses. Just that simple, because I believe it's manipulated and the whales want to take your crypto. Now, looking at this on the daily charts, what we can see here is that we are now in a spot in which this market will see more liquidations if the market goes up. Quite simply, what that means is after this pullback, traders are betting that this market will continue downwards, and that does put them in a position in which they will get liquidated if the market goes up. Now, not only have we seen the daily charts corrected and a lot more leaning towards the upside, the 7-day has corrected itself as well. You remember, when I showed you that video a couple of days ago, the red line was way up here, guys. The green line was way down here, and now it's flipped rolls. This means that even in more of a mid midterm perspective, we're also going to see way more liquidations if this market pushes towards 64 or 65K than if we do head towards 53K. So the leverage to the upside would be a lot stronger. The momentum to the upside would be a lot stronger if we do make that move. And then lastly, looking at the 30-day charts, we can also see things are looking pretty decent. We're seeing the balance a little bit better. These were even last time we made this video. Now we're seeing the longs or the move to the upside being a little bit higher liquidations than to the downside on the 30-day, but it is a little bit more even than I would like it to be, right? This is a little bit too even for me, and it tells me that in like more of a macro sense, we could go in either direction. There's not a ton of clarity here, but overall it does seem as if things are correcting, and that doesn't particularly mean like this market's just immediately going to go back to 64K. It just means that as this market continues lower and lower, the likelihood of another big beautiful bounce to the upside and getting some move to the upside gets higher and higher and higher. And so because of that, guys, what I currently am doing at this given moment is I did do some tiny accumulation, just a little bit, because when we're seeing heavy, liquidations heavily favored in one direction, I like to go for that, right? I like to just go for whatever it is. And considering that on the dailies, again, a lot more liquidations happen to the top side, 7-day, a lot more to the top side, I'm confident that we could see some sort of bounce to try to liquidate all of these traders. And so because of that, I did do some tiny little buys right here, just like right around where we are now. It's about $60,000. I'm not super confident in them because at the end of the day, if we do look at something like Crypto Fear and Greed Index, for example, let's go out here. We are still currently sat at about like the 30 threshold, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've not particularly, we were just out of it just recently. If we do go out to the monthly and then we look at this, what you can see is we actually hit like almost greed for a little while there, and we're back towards the fear zone, but we just got back in the fear zone, and the volatility right now is absolutely insane. So you never know what this market's going to do. Even though we're in fear now, we could be in fear for a little while before this actually turns into a really good buying opportunity. And so because of that, I did pick up a little bit, but I'm not going absolutely crazy. Looking at the RSI heat map to wrap things up, what we can see is that from a bit of a more macro perspective, we are now below that neutral zone as well, which historically isn't the best time to be buying, right? It's a good time, but it's not the best time. And so that kind of supports the fact that, again, I'm just doing a little bit of buying, but not an absolute ton of buying at this given moment. So for Bitcoin, to kind of summarize things up a little bit, the reason why we saw that pullback recently was quite simply because crypto traders got too greedy. The amount of liquidations to the downside triggered the liquidations. It was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy to some degree, leading many people to lose until we hit a point of stability in which there wasn't much losing left to happen. Now going forward, I do think that that likelihood and possibility of us trying to swing back to the upside is growing. It seems like the liquidations to the upside are growing as well. So I am doing a little bit of dollar cost averaging right here. I'm not buying an absolute ton because we just got back into fear. We're still sitting around an RSI neutral zone. And so it's not the best time to buy, but it is a decent time to buy. And because of that, I am slowly stacking up a little bit more Bitcoin just to see what happens over the next couple of days. And so of course, with that in mind, I will update you and I will give you a little bit more perspective of what is going on with Bitcoin, especially as we get more clarity and we move throughout this week. So of course, if you guys did enjoy, please do always let me know. Remember, guys, this is a brand new channel, only 1 month old. We're trying to push for 1,000 subscribers by October. So if you could help us out in that journey and hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, drop a comment so more people see it, it would be absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to catch up with you all later on. Peace out, everybody.